Iran's nuclear program began in 1957 with a U.S.-backed nuclear cooperation deal, the Atoms for Peace Agreement, signed with the Shah's regime. Under this deal, the U.S. helped build Iran's first nuclear reactor in Tehran and fueled it with highly enriched 93% weapons-grade uranium. By 1960, the American support expanded to include the transfer of hot cells, chambers capable of separating plutonium from spent reactor fuel. Later agreements further committed the U.S. to providing an additional reactor and specialized training for Iranian nuclear scientists. In 1974, Iran established the Atomic Energy Organization to oversee this expanding program. Its staff grew rapidly to 4,400 by 1978, and dozens of specialists were sent to the U.S. for advanced training. With sustained American backing, Iran developed plans to build multiple nuclear power plants. Germany agreed to build the Bushehr power plant. France and others agreed to sell technology. Iran's nuclear ambitions were back then a celebrated symbol of modernity, fully supported by the West. There was no crisis. By 1979, Iran was creating the foundation for a full-scale civil nuclear program. Then comes the revolution, changing everything overnight. The crisis emerged not from a hidden lab, but from an anti-imperialist revolution in the streets. During his war of aggression, Saddam Hussein, who received extensive intelligence, financial, and material support from Western powers and their regional proxies, used chemical weapons on a massive scale against Iranian soldiers and civilians, as well as Iraqi civilians.
ما اهل بمب اتم نیستیم. ما با بمب شیمیایی مخالفیم. ما اون وقتی که عراق ما رو مورد حمله شیمیایی قرار میداد، ما اقدام به تولید سلاح شیمیایی نکردیم. با اصول ما این چیزا موافق نیست.
Mustard gas and nerve agents were deployed en masse. The victims were men, women, and children, suffocated, poisoned, burned, left to die in agony. The world saw the pictures, and the world, for the most part, remained silent. Iranians were being gassed with Western technology funded by wealthy Arab regimes. The West did not stop it. In fact, it enabled Saddam. Iran faced a major threat and possessed the technical capability to produce chemical weapons. By the prevailing Western strategic logic, the rational move would have been to rush to produce them. But Iran did not. Imam Khomeini prohibited the government and military from producing weapons of mass destruction. Iran made a conscious decision, moral and religious, not to go down that path. One may be cynical about religious decrees, but one cannot argue with the historical fact. During a war of survival, under significant duress, when every strategic incentive screamed yes, Iran chose no. Therefore, before one blindly accepts the modern Zionist and neocon narrative of an irrational regime hell-bent on a bomb at any cost, they must confront this inconvenient history. Consider the supreme test. The moment Iran had the most convincing reason to produce chemical weapons, it refused. The war ended. Iran entered the 1990s with its policy of strategic restraint already proven. Today, Iranian leaders point to the 2003 fatwa issued by Ayatollah Khamenei, which declares nuclear weapons haram or forbidden. Given this record of restraint and religious prohibition, we must ask, what is actually driving this manufactured crisis?